Jenny Taft. Jamie, good morning. We are wrapping up here, but tell us what you guys have on the show coming up.
Good morning to you, Jenna, as well. Coming up on Undisputed, the Lakers got blown out in Philly yesterday, but will they still find a way to make the playoffs? And who should LeBron and the Lakers target this summer after striking out on Anthony Davis? Plus, Katino Mobley and Jason McIntyre are in studio with us. Undisputed coming up next. Jenna, back to you.
All right, Jamie, thank you. Look forward to it. Back here, first things first, we are going viral. Saquon Barkley set the NFL on fire in his rookie season. On Saturday, he turned 22. Some guys you may recognize were with him to celebrate. Check this out.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Saquon. Happy birthday.
That's awesome.
Come on, 22 years old, and that's your little group there.
You got Jay-Z, Diddy. Usher doesn't even make the graphic. Usher's in
Oh, there he is.
Man.
That's awesome.
I can't believe he's just 22, man.
Whew, to be young again.
Wow. That's really cool.
It's hard to top that one.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Is he a Rock Nation client?
You're asking me?
He is a Rock Nation client. That's where some of the really... You saw Jay-Z and LeBron both kind of recruiting Zion.
Loss. Here's LeBron James.
Yeah, too many breakdowns. Way too many breakdowns. I mean, we scored the ball as well as you can score the ball, especially in that first quarter. But we gave up too many pain points. We didn't keep the floor, shrunk and make many outside jumpers to begin the game. And once they start getting to the paint, then it kind of opened up everything else.
It's only been 2 games, but I think we got a chance. We got a lot to work on. Obviously, our whole offensive package hasn't been, used. We got a long way to go. But I think the potential we have, especially come playoff time, matching up with other teams, I think we got a chance, and we got to keep working, keep getting better, and learn how to play with each other.
All right, Nick, let's go back and talk about the Lakers here. Was this just a bad game for them, or is there general concern that this team might not make the playoffs?
All right, so both points. One, I don't even think it was a totally bad game. It was a 4-point game with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. They were playing no defense, so they were able to keep up. And then LeBron, Kuz, and Ingram all go to the bench simultaneously, inexplicably. And before any of them come back on the court, it's a 20-point game early in the fourth quarter, and the game is over. Now to the playoffs question. You can't dismiss it as a possibility the Lakers miss the playoffs, which would be a disaster. It would be a disaster. I don't care that they're young. It would be a disaster if this team, assuming LeBron doesn't get hurt again, misses the postseason. It would be just one shade better than disaster if they make the playoffs as the 8th seed. And so now you look at it,
then they'd be facing
you
the
play
Warriors
in round 1, and what real experience are you going to get in a 4 or 5 game series? So see, you look at it, to me, there's 26 games left. You can start counting wins, counting losses, and looking at the standings. They got 10 losses to play with. I think it's going to take 44 and 38 at a minimum to get to the 7 line, and that is what they are targeting. That has to be the goal. And so, are they okay? You can look at it and say, go to Boston, go to Philly, take a split. You'd always take that, given who those 2 teams are. But given the hole that they dug themselves by going 6-11 in the 17 games LeBron missed and then losing the next game against the Warriors when he sat that game out, you go 6-12 over a quarter of your season almost, you're going to be fighting uphill the rest of the way, and their schedule softens up after this last game. But at the end of the year, that final 6 games is brutal. So they have to start stacking up wins, or else we're going to be talking about potentially a playoffs without LeBron James for the first time in 15 years.
And they get a very fortunate bounce and Rondo being able to make the bucket in Boston, but they were down big in that game. That game could have ended exactly like this game.
Yep.
They made a big comeback, big push in the third. In this one, the thing that's most troubling is 109 points, Jenna, that they gave up. That's through 3 quarters.
Yeah.
Oh, we still got 12 more minutes of basketball to play. So when you're playing an NBA game, as LeBron talked about, yeah, they scored the ball at a high level. But when you're giving up that type of productivity on the other end, you're not going to be able to win. I'm still concerned about some of their injuries. Josh Hart. Why was he out of this game? Lonzo, when is he going to come back? And how are they going to develop a rotation? Because right now, it's close your eyes, throw it at the dartboard. Let's see. Bullock, his first game.
Hey, Bullock, how about you start and play 30 minutes?
First game coming from Detroit. They throw him into the starting lineup. So they're going to have to figure out a lineup. I'm concerned about them making the playoffs. Now, it's a lot easier. The Clippers have kind of punted on the season, so they should be able to get that spot.
And the Kings, it should be noted.
I'd much rather not be in the playoffs than be in that 8th spot. Now, I know that LeBron, his legacy and everything is at stake. These younger players, they don't have a legacy yet. So if they miss the playoffs, the only thing they're missing out on is experience. Because if they add a player, a max player, next year when we get into the playoffs, you know what the question is going to be? How the younger players going to do in the playoffs. So even though they do have 2 max players, some help for LeBron, these younger players would still be in question. I thought this year that they would get at least 2 playoff series, which I believe will be invaluable if LeBron's going to try to win a championship with this young crew.
And that would have been with the situation they'd been in if LeBron didn't suffer the first real injury of his career, but he did. And you mentioned who making the playoffs is important to. I'll tell you who else it's important to. Luke Walton staying the Lakers head coach.
Oh, absolutely.
If they don't make the playoffs, I cannot see a scenario where Luke Walton...
Yeah, there's a better chance of me coaching the Lakers next year than him.
One of the things you talked about, Nick, all season long is who's going to step up and be that number 2 to LeBron, and how far can they go if they don't have that person? Is it Kyle Kuzma, or it has to be?
Listen, Kuz, and that's another reason why yesterday getting blown out is a shame. Kuzma's second most points scored in his career, has 23 in the first quarter, damn near the Lakers record. Like, Kuzma was excellent. LeBron seemed to be in distributor mode thinking, all right, I'm going to save some energy for the fourth quarter. By the time he got in the fourth, he leaves the game at 7-point game with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. He comes back in the game, it's 20-point game, game's over. So whatever energy he saved, it was fruitless energy. But it has to be Kuzma. Ingram is incredibly frustrating to watch.
Yes.
Rondo,
very inconsistent.
Rondo was coming off one of his best games of the year. He gets 15 minutes, not in the starting lineup for inexplicable reasons, and we don't know when Lonzo's going to be back. So who else could it possibly be? It has to be Kyle Kuzma as their second option.
So let's talk about the Sixers now. How good does this starting 5 look? How good can they be if they continue to put this all together?
Yeah, they're very, very special. You could argue with them having the second best starting 5 outside of Golden State. Yeah. Golden State, I haven't seen a better starting 5. So, Nick, I'm sure by the end of the season, Golden State, as they get closer to a championship, Nick's going to match them up against some other great starting 5 that we've seen. So where they are as far as a starting 5, can they get them to play in sync? Is Jimmy Butler happy with his role? Joel Embiid is the superstar of this team, and how they're going to go about playing, because they want to play in transition, but you have one of the most dominant low post players, so you have to incorporate that into the game. As long as the offense goes through him, Nick, I'm fine with this starting lineup, because Tobias Harris, I believe, is a better player people have seen and people question because he's been on 5 teams, but I believe he's a great addition, spacing this court and giving them more offense.
And small sample size, but J.J. Redick's true shooting percentage with Tobias Harris on the court with him is just 97%, which is because he now has more spacing. Guys can't worry about him being the only shooter. If the Philadelphia 76ers don't fall prey to something Pat Riley coined as the disease of more and the disease of me, which is, what about me getting my shots? What about me getting my shine? Jimmy Butler's pending contract. Tobias pending contract.
What the Celtics are going through right now.
Absolutely right. If they understand their roles, understand that the game's going to run through Joel Embiid, that the end of game is for Jimmy Butler, Tobias and J.J. Redick are going to have to get their offense when it comes to them, and Ben Simmons' job is to defend and orchestrate, then they are the second best team in the league. Because you added to the bench Jonathan Simmons, you added to the bench Mike Scott, you have some real depth. But if all of a sudden one of these games where Jimmy Butler doesn't get a bunch of shots, goes poorly, start going off in the locker room, then it goes differently.
All right, we got to go. Have a great day, everyone.